Hello, ketogenic people of the world. Okay, today we're going to be talking about some issues you're having with week 1. Weeks 1 and 2 are generally the hardest, and they're the hardest because our bodies are trying so hard to stop using sugar as fuel and to start using fat as fuel. It's something that our bodies are completely capable of doing. Hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, this is what our bodies did on a regular basis. When there wasn't enough food available, we immediately tapped into our fat stores. But now that we live in a world where we can have whatever we want, whenever we want, and in whatever quantities we want, we're all a little bit bigger and we've really never gotten into that fat burning phase. We've tried and tried, we've tried to exercise, we've tried everything, and we've not been able to lose weight. We've not been able to break into that fat burning mode. And there's a reason for that. When you eat, a lot of what we eat these days in the American diet is carbohydrates. We're told eat our grains, eat our whole wheat pastas, eat bread, eat cereal, it's fortified with B vitamins. That's so dumb. Anyways, we're told, oh yay, it's wonderful, this is what you should eat. No, they're just trying to sell you this stuff. Don't get me started. Okay, where are we going? I'm going in a different direction. Stay on the path, April. Okay, so you eat all those things that are low fat, that are low calorie, and you're like, yes, my calories are so low, and then you go bike or walk or run for an hour. It's just this cycle. You haven't really broken into the fat burning. We've got to stop the sugar. We've got to stop the insulin. We need insulin, but only in certain amounts, okay? We've got to stop all of that. We've got to slow it down, pull it back to give our body a chance to break into fat burning. And we're going to do that. We've dropped our carbs to 20 or low or lower, just 20 or lower in that area. We don't actually need carbs. They're not necessary. Our body can make them if we need them. So our body can go through what's called gluconeogenesis, and it can do this with our own protein, or the protein that we eat. It can take it and turn it into glycogen, which then can be used for glucose. Okay, so it's not needed, and it doesn't mean we necessarily immediately take from our bicep. There's something called autophagy. And during autophagy, where the body feels as though it's in a starvation mode, whether it be in a starvation mode or whether it be in a state of ketosis, it'll go in throughout the body, autophagy, and cells that just aren't right, or they're too old, or they're unhealthy, little areas of the body, scar tissue, little cysts, things that are really unneeded. The body is so smart, it's so intelligent, it is a God-made thing. Like, it knows and it understands, and we don't know. We don't know that our body is going through and it's saying, we need a little bit more sugar. Let's see what we have out there in this vast expanse of the body that we don't need, that we can kind of take care of. And so it goes through a stage of cleaning house. It cleans up all the yucky stuff, absorbs it, deals with it, uses it for energy, turns it into glycogen. Okay, that kind of sugar I'm fine with. The stuff that our body makes, I'm fine with. I don't like the extra stuff you're putting in. And if you're putting in too much protein, we'll talk about that later. That's not this week. That's not something we have to deal with right now. Our body is going to go through a state of ketosis without having to worry about that. We're just trying to break through that barrier. And something that's going to prevent us from breaking through that barrier is those dang sugar cravings. So there's a couple of reasons why we have them. Number one, our body is just crying out for energy. It feels the depletion of sugar and it doesn't quite yet know what else to use. The ketones are starting to be made, they're starting to float around in the blood, but it still takes a while before it realizes, that's my energy source. That's what I need to use. It's trying, and you can feel it trying, but it hasn't exactly happened yet. So another reason we might have sugar cravings is it's a perceived craving for sugar. So if you're craving chocolate, you think, oh, it's the sugar. I just need the sugar. When in all actuality, it may actually be magnesium. So most likely during this week, it's just sugar. It's just energy. But that's still another possibility. And later on down the line, another possibility, if your sugar cravings go beyond 2 or 3 weeks, it may be that you also are lacking in B vitamins. Sometimes that can cause sugar cravings. We're going to focus on the one issue of it being energy. Your body perceiving a lack of energy, because that is most likely what it's going to be this week and next. And so we're going to help your body through it. First, my motto, always, food first. God gave us food. He gave it for the nourishment of our body, our little soul. Like I said, food makes the soul happy. We need food. So make sure you're eating. Make sure you're eating enough. If you're hungry, eat some more. It's okay. Don't worry about calories. We're just worrying about keeping our carbs at 20 or under, right? So if you catch yourself with a nasty sugar craving, go get something really fatty. If you can handle dairy, get a piece of cheese and even add some butter on top of it. It's salt and fat, and it may curb that craving. Okay, if you can't have dairy, it doesn't set well with you, go to an avocado. You get one of those free a day, eat it and see if you feel better. One other reason we might be craving sugar is we don't have enough potassium. Okay, so potassium, if you get your daily requirements of potassium, remember between 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams, you won't crave sugar. It'll take about 24 hours, but you won't crave sugar. You just won't. You have enough potassium, the body's happy, it's got that energy flowing like we talked about in the electrolyte video, and you're good. So make sure your potassium is up. Make sure you're getting enough potassium. Make sure you're getting enough salt. I've been tracking my salt these last 5 days, and you remember that video where I told you between 4,000 and 5,000 milligrams and I came back and corrected it? Sometimes the USDA is off. So for me, I've been getting 4 to 5 milligrams of sodium salt. And I need it. And that's just what I need. If I get any less than that, the bowels back up. Okay, so you don't want to get constipated. I'm taking all of my potassium. I know I'm taking my potassium. In order to properly go through the day, have all of the things through the day that we need to have, I need between 4,000 and 5,000 milligrams of salt. I've been tracking it, and that's where I feel healthiest and happiest. So track your own salt, and if you're not feeling healthy or happy, you're not eliminating properly, you know you're getting the potassium, then up your salt. I know what the government recommends, but we all know the government is crazy. Anyways, figure it out for yourself. It doesn't matter what somebody else says. I need that much salt. I'm pretty positive there's probably somebody else out there who needs that much as well. Where did I read that article? I read an article once that said between 5,000 and 6,000 milligrams of sodium is ideal. I don't know, where was that? Anyways, we're not going to go into that. Probably delete that because I can't give you the source. It's just this useless piece of information that floats around in April's brain. So kind of like what people consider being in ketosis is different from scientist to scientist and from learner to learner, like myself. We all develop our own think-sos, our own opinions, and that probably has a lot to deal with ourselves and the people that we help. You know, I keep information on everybody that I've helped, and so I learn through them, and I learn what helps with them. And so if the USDA recommendations doesn't help my clients, it's not going to help me. We all need to figure it out. Use your journal. Remember this little guy? Track it. Figure it out for yourself. Don't trust me. Don't trust anybody else. Yeah, do your work. Just figure it out. We're all here as guides, assistants. It's really exciting now because people are taking their health into their own hands. And I truly believe that years ago, people did take their health into their own hands. They had gardens. They knew what to eat out of the garden when they had a certain sickness, disease, feeling, issue. They just knew these things. It was passed down from generation to generation. And now we depend on people like doctors that are taught by the pharmaceutical company what we need. We are depending on the government to tell us what's healthy for us when we've always known. We have instincts. God gave us the ability to know. He gave us the instinct to know what to eat and when to eat it. What do you think it is when you crave chocolate? Your body knows there's magnesium in chocolate. It knows you'll eat it. You obviously love chocolate. So your body will be like, hey, let's have some chocolate. That's intelligent design right there. Anyways, we got to get back on subject. Okay, so if the fat does not help you with your sugar cravings within about 30 minutes, then you can go to a supplement. L-glutamine is an amino acid. It's in protein, so if you take it, you're going to want to take it about 20 minutes like before you eat protein. You don't want to take it at the same time. You're going to want to take it on an empty stomach. So you're going to want to take between 500 to 2,000 milligrams. You're going to start at the lowest dose, and you can take it kind of as an emergency, like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind, I'm going to eat sugar. You go in and you grab some L-glutamine. It comes in powder or capsule forms. You're going to want to put it right under your tongue. So you're going to break open the capsule, or you're going to take the powder. So you're going to start at the lowest dose, which is 500. You're going to take that. If it doesn't help, increase your dose. For me, I need between 1,000 to 200 milligrams if I use the L-glutamine. You can take it on a regular daily dose. So if you were going to do that, if your sugar cravings are so severe that there's no way you can stay on this diet, you're going to want to take it first thing in the morning, between 500, I think, to 1,000 milligrams if you're doing it throughout the day. So you're going to want to take it in the morning, right when you wake up. You're going to want to take it in between breakfast and lunch, so mid-morning. You're going to want to take it in between lunch and dinner, so mid-afternoon. And you can take it with 200 micrograms of chromium. Chromium helps with blood sugar regulation, and sometimes even chromium alone can reduce somebody's cravings for blood sugar. If you take it with the L-glutamine, it tends to do a better job. So if you're taking that quick dose, I need immediate help, you can take the 200 micrograms of chromium with the quick dose. I personally would rather you do the quicker doses, because here's the thing about these amino acids. They're sugar. They're not sugar, but they kind of appear to be sugar to the body, right? So that's why they help with sugar cravings, because it tells your brain, okay, I'm all right. I just got some energy in. I'm enjoying it. I'm okay. It's not the same thing as sugar. It's like sugar. So we don't want our body to be dependent on that. We just need to be dependent on it long enough to get through the next week or two. Some people go into 3 weeks, but most people, it's within the first 2 weeks where the cravings really get under control. By about 3 weeks, most people don't have a lot of cravings unless they eat too many carbohydrates. If you eat too many carbohydrates in a day or in one meal, you're going to find that your desire for carbohydrates is increased. So if you've ate a meal and an hour later you're craving something sweet, something you know you shouldn't, or you're hungry again, you might have had too many carbs. You're going to want to look at your notebook. You're going to want to look at MyFitnessPal. You're going to want to go back. You're going to want to see what it is that I ate. Was there anything different? Did I do anything different? I ate everything normal. I ate everything right. So what is the problem? Sometimes the problem is that you've overprocessed something. So say cauliflower, for example. Let's say one head of cauliflower has 10 carbs. And out of those 10 carbs, 5 of them are fiber. Okay, so you take that head of cauliflower, you chop it up, you steam it, and then you mash it. There goes my puppies. And then you mash it, you mash down that fiber, you process it. You are processing that cauliflower. Therefore, you need to add back in the fiber. So a meal that you thought was only going to be 5 carbs, yay, I'm so excited, only 5 carbs, turns into 10. And you had no idea. Crazy. So be careful how you process things. If you are going to process it down to mush, you add back in those carbs. So that being said, when you're eating later on, you're going to slowly learn by your sugar cravings how much carbohydrates you can handle in one meal. I say for you to keep it at 5 because that's how many grams of sugar the blood can handle at one time before it looks at it as a toxic substance that needs to be packed away. And then it turns into what? Fat. Insulin is raised, it comes and gets the glucose, it puts it in our fat. We don't want that. So this week, next week, you're going to be watching for those sugar cravings. When you have them, you're going to write them down. You're going to look at the meal that you had before. You're going to look at the day. And you're going to find out, I can handle 4 carbs per meal. I can handle 6 carbs per meal. I can handle blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is. We're not focusing on that. We're focusing on 20 carbs or under. But how you allocate those 20 carbs will become very apparent in a few weeks. This is why we want to keep our journal, because it's going to be really useful later on. Later on, when I tell you, okay, go back, you're going to be like, what? Oh, poor guy, poor girl. You didn't record anything. You don't want to be that person. Get your notebook. Okay. So, try the fat, try the avocado, try the emergency dose of L-glutamine. You can add the chromium to it if you would like. And if that doesn't help, remember, increase your dose. Don't increase your dose of the chromium. Just leave that where it's at. You can take the chromium with the L-glutamine if you take it throughout the day. Okay, if you decide to do that. If you're an emotional eater, if you're sad, you're stressed, you're angry, you're upset, if the first thing you do is go to food, I've got help for you. But I don't want you to depend on it. I want you to come to a better place with food where you can look at it as sustenance, as God-given medicine, as health and nutrition, as energy. I don't want you to look at it as a quick fix for a sad day. I don't want you to hold on to things that happened to you years ago and continue to eat. It makes me really sad. So I want you to learn how to give up those things things that happened 5 years ago, things that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Let them go. They are continuing to hurt you by you holding on to them. You're punishing yourself for something somebody else did or a choice you made. We need to stop and we need to move forward. God can help us. If He's standing behind us, we can only look forward. We've got to just propel ourselves. And when we start to think about those things that might have happened to us, affected us, or decisions we made, we need to stop and say, no, I'm sorry, not today. But that's a process. And that's a process that's hard and that some of us can never fully go through. So there's a little bit of help. There's another amino acid, DLPA, and that's DL. I never pronounce this word right. Phenylalanine. Phenylalanine. I'll spell it for you. Right there. Okay, so that helps us with our emotional eating. And we are going to take between 500 to 1,000 milligrams of that. You can do it as an emergency dose, just like the L-glutamine or the chromium, or you can take it along with them daily. Okay, you can do all of those things. You can help yourself with supplements. These supplements are all natural. I don't ever recommend anything that's not all natural. I don't believe so. No, I don't think so. So the amino acids are protein. They're protein and they help us. Remember, the body looks at them kind of like sugar, but it's not really sugar. So we don't want to get dependent on them. We don't want our body to expect to get our supplements when we need it to be making ketones. Okay, so another reason we might be craving sugar is our liver is not processing everything like it should. In order to do a ketogenic diet and to do it well, we need a good liver. Okay, so if you have a fatty liver, any type of a liver disease, hepatitis C, those type of issues, you are going to want to, you're going to want to have your greens really high. So you are in the unhealthy category that I put up here. And so like if 7 cups of greens is down here and 12 is up here, you're going to want to be up here. You might even want to go back and have a couple of weeks, 1 to 2 weeks of only eating greens. Greens clean out the liver so well, so good and so fast. When a doctor wants to decrease the size of the liver, they tell you to eat more salads, less protein, less fat, because that just has that capability of pulling that down, making the liver healthier and happier and able to quickly and better process things. We need that liver to create ketones. Okay, they just don't matter. You don't eat fat and then the fat is just a ketone. It has to go through a process to become a ketone. Okay, so if our liver is not happy, that's what we need to do. So increase those greens, and increasing the greens, that's going to increase the potassium, and that's going to decrease the sugar cravings as well. So it's all this big, happy, healthy cycle. I know a lot of you hate your vegetables. You hate green leafy food. It's like, oh, why do I have to eat that? Kale, blah, blah, blah. I'm not advertising for kale. Eat whatever greens you want. I just want you to eat them so that you can be healthier. And when you do, you'll notice it'll take a couple of days, but you'll be like, I haven't had my greens today. I can feel it. Oh, I need them. You'll start craving greens. So whatever you eat the most, you will start craving. I crave fat, like the fattiest of fattiest foods. When I am doing my ketogenic diet, I cannot get enough of them. Things that are leaner almost make me a little, ugh. Like I would by far rather have chicken legs or a chicken thigh than a chicken breast. The thought of having to eat a chicken breast, I did last week, but I was only a few days into being on my ketogenic diet, right? But when I'm in my ketogenic diet, ooh, girl, you give me a chicken breast, I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to smother it with so much butter that people are going to stare at me. It's happened before. I don't really care. I just laugh and look at me, I'm eating butter. A few people that I know, like one of my sister-in-laws, we've been to events where there's literally nothing I can eat. And she'll always bring me back butter packets from the line. I can't eat anything. She brings me back 4 or 5 butter packets. I eat them, put a little salt on them. I'm happy. She understands me. Anyways, working on the anyways. But this is how we're going to get through. We're going to help ourselves to succeed. Okay, so the potassium, the fat, the sodium, the salt, the L-glutamine if you need it, the DPLA, DLPA if you need it, and the chromium if you need it. And the good thing about these amino acids in the chromium is they work with the blood glucose levels as well. So those of you that are feeling a little hypoglycemic, all of these things that I'm talking about will help you as well. But the number one thing to do is eat. Our body needs fuel. It's crying out for fuel. It's not getting the type of fuel it thinks it needs. And we're switching over to ketones. Okay? It's happy. Our body's going to be like, I know it's tough, but get through. Week 3, yay! You're going to be so happy. You're going to feel better. And you know what? One day you're going to hit a point where all of a sudden your brain is just like this magnificent, oh, how to describe it? I want to describe it as if I've never taken like a psychogenic drug. No, like I wouldn't. Like, but you've seen shows from like the 70s where they're like, oh, the colors are so beautiful. Like, it's like that. It's like your brain wakes up and you just are happy, but it's from the brain out. That's exactly what it is. You're happy. It's like there's sunshine no matter where you're at, but it's from the brain out. It takes me 3 months, generally, when I go off of my ketogenic diet and back on. It takes me about 3 months to get to that point. But when you do, you know that is when your body and your brain have completely accepted that ketones are life and that this is my energy source. And you just reach this level of joy and happiness that you could, maybe it would be the same feeling like having a big dose of sugar, but you only get that for this tiny window. And then it comes with all this pain and issues, and it's not even the same thing. It's like a hippie on acid. I don't even know. That's probably the worst way of describing it. But maybe you know where I'm coming from. Maybe you can think, oh, I don't want to be a hippie on acid, but yeah, happiness and joy and love coming from the brain and working its way out, being able to see issues more clearly, not being affected so emotionally. That's fabulous. I want some of that. Maybe I'll get there earlier this time. Maybe it won't take me 3 months. Let me tell you, I go off and on my ketogenic diet, and I go off and on my supplements. I do this so that I can see where the things that I have done have healed me. where God has intervened and healed me, where how is it that everything fits together? And I can't do that by constantly staying on a ketogenic diet. I have to do it by having dips and raises. I have to practice on myself. And so that's one reason why I go off and on so easy. I want to find out, what is it that I've healed? What is it that I need to work on? Where is it that God has blessed me with great miraculous healing? And to me, it's all God, all of it. It just encompasses it all. But I can't do that just on a ketogenic diet. I need a contrast to see where I'm at. But I've hit a stage in my life where the contrast, looking at the contrast and studying it, it's not worth the issues that I'm having. I am currently 40, and each time I go on and off and on, I feel like it's harder for me to dive back in. I feel like the issues that carbohydrates cause with me happen faster. And I worry about that. I worry about the buildup of instant inflammation, you know, where a person is good, they're good, and then all of a sudden they have this burst of inflammation because here they were on a ketogenic diet, and then here they went off. And now they just, that instant burst of inflammation is dangerous, and I can feel how dangerous it is. And so the reason why I'm doing this video series, is because this is the last time I'm doing it. I will probably go off for vacations with my family. It's more than 7 days. I'm willing to do that, but I'm not willing to go off for long periods of time. My body cannot handle it anymore. So this is the last time. So I'm getting it on video. And for those of you that were wondering, I have been doing keto 6 or 7 years. Is it really that long? It is. I took off a whole year once. That was bad. That was bad. Anyways, there we are. You're going to get through it. It's okay. If you're having any other problems, comment in the thing down below. We're getting there. We're going to make it. It's just week 1. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. You'll get there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.